do a couple of things. You know what I gotta do, man? Oh, I'm on wrong spot. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. All right. All right. Well, today, I hope you had an opportunity to actually read the title. It's called Police Aggression, Documenting Unlawful Stops and Your Rights. Now, the funniest thing is, this is something, I'm gonna actually show you the date. Well, actually, I'm not gonna show you the date. This is something that I actually set to talk about on July 21st. I want you to catch that. I set to talk about this July 21st. And today, what is today? I got everything rolling except for what I need rolling. What is the date, man? It's August 9th. So I put this together.
Okay, I found this on the web. What day is August 9th? Check it out.
Oh my God, man. When I wanted to work, she don't want to. Anyway, I put this together July 21st. August 9th, I'm actually kind of doing some videos, kind of looking and eating and doing 1,000 things at once. And I run across this officer. He's from the Chicago Police Department. He's in District 4. He is a bad cop. Now, not just saying this because he's a bad cop, because Jeffrey Gordon Fryam, I actually did a video on it. I'm going to be editing and posting that later today. I did I believe it's a short. And I posted that he was a bad cop. He's a Brady cop. And he's been on the job since 2007. I want to say September of 2007. And since then, he has now incoming his 5th pending false arrest lawsuit. He's violated a multitude of department policies. He even threatened to shoot a man that was filming him in the course of his duties, which was crazy because at the time, he was just out filming and talking with his friends. Wasn't doing anything, wasn't part of any investigation at the time. Yet, Jeffrey Gordon Fram, badge number 5904, thought it was a great idea to actually threaten this man by shooting him and encouraging him to run so he can actually have an excuse for doing it. Now, here's what caught my attention. Jeffrey Gordon Fram has 27 use of force reports. He has 23 civilian complaints. He was involved in a multitude of illegal searches. Now, what I caught that was interesting, because I think the documents that came up, they don't give you full disclosure on everything, but it gave you over 70. And in the midst of that, I noticed the majority were against black and brown folks. And I'm thinking to myself, why is he there? That's because we're not challenging anything that he does. Every time he's involved in an arrest, this is why I put up the bad cop. This is why I tell you to challenge police character. He is a Brady cop. And even in the video that you're going to see later, he's your get out of jail free card, because just like, I hate to bring this up, OJ, Mark Ferman was his get out of jail free card because Mark Ferman was a bad cop. And whenever you have cops like this, you make them useless. If they're going to keep them on the force, you make sure they're used against them. Because again, they're friends and buddies with the prosecutor and the DA and all those good people. Now, if they're going to continue using them, they're putting a known liar on the stand. They're using information from a known liar, which is an ethical violation. So we know they're not taught how to investigate properly. We know they're not taught how to solve crimes. Why not press the fact that they're not going to do it correctly? And he is the poster child of foolishness. But he's also a great stance for the police aggression. Because when you have 27 use of force allegations, this is a problem. And this video, I want to talk about techniques for accurately documenting police interactions as they are explored, and viewers are guided through understanding their rights through traffic stops and other encounters. Because this, with Jeffrey Gordon Fromm, was not a traffic stop. He was literally driving by and they were standing on a green box. You know, if you're in the hood, you know what a green box is. And they were just standing there. And I believe in the video, it was 3. He only threatened 1. And he was threatening the one with the camera, which was odd to me. But again, they were also black and brown people, you know, his MO, the people that he normally targets. And I hate to say that word, but when you look at 70 different issues, and all of the issues are coming from the exact same people that look the exact same, yeah, you got a pattern, bruh. And that's what you use against him, his pattern. Now, when we're doing this, we're talking about going beyond the badge. The critical importance of personal documentation in this era is increasing police scrutiny and public awareness, especially since 2020. Now, everybody now has one of these. I've got, and to be honest with you, this is actually like my 4th phone. I carry with me on a everyday basis like 3 phones, and my iPad and my laptop. And then I come home and then I got 3 screens for my desktop. So we have means of actually putting together video. You have outsources such as TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter or X, links. It's like, I can think of probably about 15 others, but we're kind of running through it. But even in the context of this, most people have no idea why these apps had started. Now, I'm going to give you this because I spoke about this once before. Most people didn't realize Telescope, which is now owned by Facebook, which is part of the problem. Telescope was actually set up originally. Even Facebook's going live feature was originally set up because police officers was deleting videos. And I always tell you, 76% of the videos we see about police officers don't come from police officers. We have to fight and argue and go and get multitudes of written statements from God and 2 other white folks and get the body cam footage, unless they think they're correct, which we also know that is literally 1 out of 27 million, because they don't know law, they're not taught law. And when you have to go to school for 7 years to learn law, and you only go to class for 6 months at best, you're probably not going to get all 7 years crammed into that little 9 week, 11 month. So these are the things which you have to understand. They were set up originally so you can actually document them. Now, in this case, we have what I believe Facebook has a 2-course deletion program. The problem is, now that Telescope is owned by Facebook or Meta has discretion. If they receive written notification from someone, they can actually not only remove the video, they can remove your account, which is why you also have these other programs which allow you to not only upload to Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or things of that nature, it allows you to upload to more than 30 platforms at one time. Now, you look at the stop, because again, Had this young man not already been recording, we wouldn't have known about this issue with Jeffrey Gordon Fromm. The issue of what's the young man? He was out and about, and we would have never known about the situation with the police officer had it not been for someone standing by videotaping. And actually, on videotaping, old as shit, is not recording it on their phone and then posting it to Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Because that's one of our tools. Even during the pandemic, I was actually advocating for getting a dash cam, because now if you're actually riding around and you're not making millions of dollars at a time and you don't have a dash camera, you are crazy. That is literally my thing. If you're riding around at any point and you're not making millions of dollars, you got $100,000 a month attorney on retainer, you are crazy. Because when I told you this is about revenue generation, I'm going to show you some other videos, because this is the thing that I'm doing now. Is I'm going to show you why I'm saying do the things, do this, do that. Because these are the ways not only to weaponize your defense, it's also to protect you and yours. So anyway, a lot of times what we're having is the issue of not understanding that we are allowed to record out in public. We're allowed to record, and we don't need anybody's consent. Just understand that. In certain instances where you're recording a phone call that's in the privacy of someone's home, that's different. If you're recording a phone call in an office, that's different. If you are outside and someone's talking loud on a cell phone, or they're in a park and they're on FaceTime and they got the most, you want people to hear your conversation. So always understand that. If you want private, be private. If you don't want privacy, don't act like you want it. And anyway, going through all that, said a whole bunch of nothing right there. Anyway, the whole context is make sure you're recording at some aspect, whether it's with your phone, whether it's with a dash camera. Why? Because you have the right to do that. And that works as your documentation, because as we've seen, even when they upload these body cams, they're showing that most police officers are lying. Why? Because I've said it literally for the past 7-8 years. They're using stock language, so police officers don't have the ability to tell the truth. I'm gonna say that one more time. We're looking at these body camera footages. We're seeing that they contradict what the police officers saying. Why? Because the police officers cannot tell the truth because they are using stock language. Yes, I pause for dramatic effect because I want you to understand that your video is your documentation. Now, a lot of times, because even if you're looking at certain instances as of late, because even one I'm going to put up later, the police chief, because I always tell people, stop asking for, I need to see your supervisor. No, you don't. You don't need to see him. You need to shut up. That's what you need to do. But I'm showing how a supervisor was caught, or a sergeant was caught flipping a coin, making a decision on what they were going to do, because the sergeant didn't know that the deputy couldn't do what they were doing. They called the police chief. I have video of a police chief. He's actually lying and covering up for the officers. Why? Because he doesn't know law. Because remember, he's going to that same school, that same training. And even we had one as far as he was promoted, he couldn't read. So how does he know law? And you keep asking for, let me see your supervisor. That doesn't make him smarter. That don't mean that they're not corrupt. That doesn't mean they're outside the system or that they're going to do the right thing. It's you have to understand what it is exactly that you're supposed to be doing, and then you must have the ability to exercise correctly. And generally that is due to the Fifth Amendment, and the advice of counsel, I refuse to answer this or any other questions. So all these just simple notions, simple things to keep together. But one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you have access to immediate storage that requires a password to get into. Now, a lot of times we're seeing things like Facebook get hacked into immediately. Hell, I've noticed if you upload to YouTube, you still have a two-step process to even go and look into YouTube Studio. So you can actually set that up. So when we're doing this, we have to make sure, even if we're arrested, we're able to access it. And also look into I can't even remember the name of the app at this moment, but a client of mine, he had an app on his phone, but it was he originally told me it was for his girlfriend. What he did when he was arrested, the app, every time someone puts in a code, it takes a picture of the person. So when he got out of jail, he noticed that his phone was dead. Not really a big deal, 3 days. Whatever. So when he goes into his app, his pictures or photos is filled up with different police officers with timestamps. That's odd. So when he brought it up in court, they immediately dismissed it. Why? Because they can't answer those questions because they were illegally trying to get into his phone without a warrant. And if they do that, or if they admit to it, they're admitting to negligence and evidence tampering. So it's easier to dismiss it and hope he doesn't file and stop asking questions. So even in these cases, make sure you have documented proof of the video, making videos, getting audios, because even the audio recording caught the judge in South Georgia using the N-word, caught the police chief making a side deal with the actual known murderer. And these things, because even We Own the City, when I talked about Wayne Jenkins in Baltimore, that entire task force was caught on an open audio recording because most people are just yapping and they have no idea of their surroundings and they think everybody is actually their friend and agree with them for the most part. Now, even if you're going in, I've actually heard of people going into meetings with the district attorney or the opposing counsel and having their iPhone. Now, let me see if it'll do it here. iPhone has a feature, if I can open mine. Stop. All right, iPhone has a feature. I don't even know what it's called. Voice recorder. Voice memos. Now, what we're gonna do, boom. See, I got a bunch of recordings. Now, I'm gonna hit record. Started recording. I'm gonna hit the side button. Screen is blacked out. What most people don't know, because they'll look at your phone and ask, are you recording? Oh, no, I'm not. And now look what happens. I'm still recording. Has not stopped. So you have the ability to record. Well, oh, damn, my phone wasn't even open. Okay. You have the ability to record and have your screen blacked out where they're not able to see it. And a lot of times, because this is also one that a young man that I was helping used. And the craziest thing about it was he played it back because we filed a motion for the judge. And the prosecutor actually threatened him with a dismissed case. He said, hey, if you either take a plea to this case or at trial, if you push for a trial, I'm going to bring up this old gun case. He said, you mean the one I was exonerated on? He said, I don't care if you were exonerated. I'm going to find a way to use it against you so people know that you always tote guns. His response is Texas. They'll be surprised if you don't have a gun, especially if they come into your house. So, but because he used that threat, that is coercion. That is unethical and illegal, which actually got now not only the first case dismissed, but the second case. But had he not had that recording, which by, just so you can know, he couldn't even use that recording unless there was a denial. So there would have to be something else that was done to be able to use the recording in, let's say, a federal lawsuit or something of that nature. But again, these are different things that can happen because these are how you protect yourself. And this is part of how you document what these police officers are doing throughout the course of their duties, especially when it comes to you. All right. And even when a police officer can and cannot search your person and vehicle. Now, I'm going to go into, not now, but I'm going to do a video with Pennsylvania v. Mims because I don't think most people grasp it fully. Because I know most police officers don't, because again, they always stop at the if and or. Because they can ask you to get out the conveyance if. And that's where most people get lost at. It's the if. Because they don't even know what the if is. And your greatest question to ask is, am I being detained? And your greatest attribute is to remain silent. You do not have to participate in their investigation. Because even if they say, well, I'm going to take you downtown and print you. Well, they have to get a warrant. If not, they've overstepped, and that is now called kidnapping. Because remember, they have no authority until there's a crime. They must be able to articulate every detail of what they're doing because they are servants, not masters. They don't have any authority until, because they give you instructions prior to, which is all things that can be done on video. They give you instructions prior to a crime or prior to actual completion of an investigation. It is a Fourth Amendment violation. It is an oath violation. And it is also grounds for dismissal, suppression, as well as a federal lawsuit. So the biggest issue is after your stop, after your encounter, you want to preserve your evidence and make sure it is usable. So a lot of times what we're doing is I always tell people, if you have a video that's online, make sure you have it in multiple places. Don't ever have one video in one place. Use multiple hard drives, because that was one of the things that we actually had. I think I've got like 10 hard drives around here. But I also make sure I have access to different online storages, which is kind of the easiest for me. And because like not all cloud backups, because I very rarely use the iCloud backup, because you can access the iCloud from multiple different devices at the same time, because I actually had to unlink all of my, because again, I just showed you I got a ton of phones and computer stuff. So I had to unlink all of it. So it becomes an isolated piece. I can upload one here and put it somewhere. I can upload it somewhere else, but making sure all of it's not in the same place at the same time. So as you're going through, you use not only discovery, but you use the different documentations and even depositions to find ways to show or present your evidence prior to and even at trial. Now, the biggest issue in this is often we're talking about the ideals of systematic change. The change begins when we start to actually reclaim what's ours, and we start to hold those that are not doing their job properly accountable for it. Now, the greatest thing ever, because I was watching I want to say Officer Tatum. I don't often agree with what he says because most situations he's going to address it as a police officer. Now, he's been much better lately. But anyway, one of the things that he was talking about was the idea of that person should have done this, that person should have done that. And in often cases, we talk about the victim, not the oppressor or the aggressor. And what I'm talking about is we never ask the police officer to do their job properly. Why is that? Why is it we can never hold a police officer accountable? Why is it that they rather support blindly someone they know is doing wrong and not correct their behavior, not chastise them, and not tell them to do better? Why would that not be a requirement? Unless that's not the job that they're supposed to be doing. Being what we know as a good officer is not the job requirement. Because again, we went through a lot of this stuff before where I asked the question, where are the good cops? Because we often hear, oh, it's just a few. I went through, 9 police stations. Just randomly picked 9 police stations. Minnesota was 96% bad. Buffalo, 100% bad. What was that? Coffee, Texas, 100% bad. Atlanta, what was that? 80% bad. Well, Fulton County. Fulton County, 80% bad. What was it? Was a couple other ones. I know it was another one in South Georgia, 100% bad. So where are the good officers at? Because it seems to me the good officers are in the minority, not the majority, because majority of these officers are what we're looking at with Jeffrey Gordon Fromm in Chicago. Because even when you look at, as he was part of code complaints, so it was him and multiple officers, while Jeffrey had the most, like he was by far the worst officer. It wasn't one good officer in any of those, in the 70 list of documentation that he was involved in. 70. Not one other officer was in there that was good. I think the one that had the least amount of complaints, he had one. He had only been on the job a week. So what are they doing? They're bringing these guys in that aren't qualified to be police officers, and then they're teaching them how to be bad officers. They're training them to be bad officers. And here's the great part, because I actually thought Jeffrey, because he's been part of the police force since, 07. So he's been there almost 20 years. I thought he was at least a sergeant. No, he's just a deputy. And the crazy part about it is that means he's not smart enough to pass the sergeant's exam. That means he's also, with this amount of points, he has no idea how to do the job properly. So why is he still there? Oh, because he's doing the job they want him to do. He's getting revenue for Chicago. That's why he's been on the job as long as he has. That's why he's able to have 70 plus complaints. Because they aren't enabling. And you know why else he's there? Because so few people are actually challenging him. I'm going to say that one. So few people are actually challenging, because if he's going to work every day, there's no way he just has 70 complaints. Especially when the majority of them are against people that look like me. There's no way in a city where majority of the people that he's policing look like me. If he's having an issue with those people, how does he only have 70 and he's going to work every day? Because I guarantee you he has quotas. Maybe it's because most people don't have any idea that what he's doing is wrong, and it's not a qualification of doing the job properly, and he's not being required to do the job the right way. And when you're doing this, this is the thing that empowers you to get people like this off the force, not only by filing a lawsuit, but by going after their post certifications. I say that, I'm saying that more now because I've actually looked at a few things I've done. And yes, it's a pain because you're asking police officers to take the certifications from another police officer. And I see they're okay with the bad policing until when you show someone is a constant liability. And even here's the crazy part. Up until this point, he's only costed, and I mean the words only, he's only cost the city in all the lawsuits that he's lost $200,000, $270,000. That's a drop in the bucket. Now, what does that tell you? Most of his lawsuits are being settled for literal pennies on the dollar. So what did that also tell you? They're putting pressure on those that are suing. And most people that are suing are not staying with the suit, or they're offering latitude that they should not offer. Because to give you one example, sued one police officer down in South Texas. One police officer, $130,000. This dude's been on the job 18 years. He has more than $180,000 in his pension. He makes more than $100K a year. You got plenty of assets that you can go after. These are the things, when you start hitting them in their pockets, they start remembering what they're supposed to do. If you do that enough, then those that are allowing him to be who he is, they stop allowing people to be who he is. So this is the chance to make sure you're documenting everything, make sure you're securing everything, and now you make sure you challenge everything. So we can stop creating, yes, because it's a we thing. We can stop creating Jeffrey Gordon Ferman. See you guys in the next one.